Brain rot refers to the gradual decline in our cognitive functions, a deterioration of our ability to engage in deep, reflective thought, absorb knowledge, and nurture creativity. This phenomenon is not literal decay, but a metaphor for the erosion of our mental faculties as a result of modern habits like constant digital stimulation, passive consumption of trivial content, and overwhelming information overload. When we engage primarily in short bursts of information rather than sustained, meaningful learning, our attention spans shorten, our memory becomes fragmented, and our capacity for critical thinking diminishes. Modern neuroscience reveals that our brains are incredibly plastic, meaning that the quality of the stimuli we consume directly influences how our neural connections develop. Frequent exposure to shallow, rapidly changing digital media can rewire our neural pathways to favor quick, reactive responses over sustained, deliberate thought. This rewiring not only displaces deep, focused processing, but also leads to a reduction in gray matter in regions associated with memory and complex decision-making. The cumulative effect of these changes is a subtle yet profound mental deterioration, a process that many refer to as brain rot. An integral factor contributing to this process is digital dependency. In our 24/7 connected world, we are bombarded with endless notifications, news flashes, and content designed to capture our fleeting attention. Every time we check our devices, our brains receive a small hit of dopamine, reinforcing the habit of seeking quick, superficial gratification. Multitasking may seem efficient, but studies show it actually impairs our ability to focus on tasks for extended periods, thereby undermining our capacity for deep thought and long-term memory retention. Chronic stress and disrupted sleep further exacerbate the situation. Constant interruptions and the relentless pace of digital life lead to elevated cortisol levels, which interfere with memory consolidation and cognitive repair. When sleep, or the quality of sleep, is compromised, our ability to process and store information is significantly impaired. Over time, this creates a vicious cycle where mental fatigue inhibits deep thinking, and the lack of deep thought in turn perpetuates stress and cognitive decline. The cultural implications of brain rot extend far beyond individual well-being. As society increasingly values quick, reactive responses over measured, thoughtful analysis, public discourse becomes fragmented. Sound bites and sensational headlines replace nuanced discussion, fostering an environment where complex issues are oversimplified. This not only diminishes the quality of collective decision-making, but also deepens divisions, as echo chambers reinforce existing biases and discourage empathy. The erosion of critical thought stands as a barrier to innovation and progress on a societal scale. On a personal level, the consequences of brain rot manifest as decision fatigue and a pervasive sense of mental exhaustion. With so many distractions vying for our attention, even simple choices can feel overwhelming. The inability to focus deeply stifles creativity and innovation, leaving us vulnerable to anxiety, depression, and a persistent feeling of disconnection. However, there are effective strategies to combat this decline. The first step is to reclaim control over our digital habits by implementing regular digital detoxes. Setting boundaries for when and how we engage with media can drastically reduce the constant barrage of interruptions that strain our brains. Equally important is the practice of deep work, setting aside uninterrupted periods for activities that require concentration and critical thought. This deliberate focus helps rebuild the neural networks that are essential for memory, creativity, and problem-solving. Mindfulness and meditation offer powerful countermeasures against brain rot. Even a few minutes a day spent in mindful reflection can lower stress levels, enhance attention, and promote mental clarity. These practices encourage us to step back from the relentless pace of modern life and to engage with our inner thoughts more profoundly. By cultivating habits that prioritize quality over quantity in the information we consume, we can begin to restore the mental resilience that is essential for deep thinking. Creating an environment that supports intellectual well-being is also vital. This means curating both our physical and digital spaces to minimize clutter and distractions. Engaging in activities that challenge us intellectually, whether through reading, creative hobbies, or thoughtful discussions, can stimulate our minds and help counter the effects of superficial content consumption. Prioritizing quality sleep and regular breaks from the digital world further contribute to a healthier cognitive state. Ultimately, the struggle against brain rot is not just an individual battle, but a collective challenge that impacts our society as a whole. Imagine a future where our educational systems emphasize critical thinking, where media presents information that encourages thoughtful analysis rather than instant reactions, and where communities value deep, reflective dialogue. By committing to practices that nurture our cognitive health, we can foster a culture of intellectual vibrancy that resists the tide of mental degradation. In summary, brain rot represents a serious, far-reaching issue in our digital age. The continuous exposure to low-quality, fragmented content is gradually eroding our ability to think deeply, remember effectively, and engage creatively. Yet, by acknowledging the signs of this decline and taking proactive steps, such as embracing digital detoxes, cultivating deep work, and practicing mindfulness, we can reclaim our mental sharpness and safeguard our cognitive potential. The timely recognition and reversal of these detrimental habits are critical if we are to preserve the brilliance and capacity of the human mind. Let this be a call to action. Reassess your daily habits, evaluate your consumption of digital content, and actively pursue practices that enrich your mental life. Brain rot is far worse than many realize, but with deliberate and thoughtful effort, we have the power to protect and even enhance the very organ that defines who we are.